little late, but we're here. Government shutdown. It's been about 8 hours. It's not going to affect really the regular American person, but I think they say it's like 750,000 jobs that, people that won't get paid. You got to do your own research on that to see how it works. But it's basically behind healthcare, and a lot of people are saying it is behind healthcare. It has something to do with illegals. So I got for the people that says that's not true, I got a clip right here of a reporter basically asking Maxine Waters. Everybody should know who she is. Maxine Waters specifically admitting it, that they want health care for everybody, if you legal or not. So that's basically what the holdup is with this government spending bill, and the Democrats looped it in with the government spending bill. Instead of separating it, they looped it together and said, well, guess what? We're not going to negotiate the government spending bill if the health care for everybody, including undocumented, is inside of this bill. So let me set everything up right here. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one only Stock Sniper. You can take it, and you can take it and basically get your own opinion about it. My opinion, because Maxine Waters in this video I'm about to show, she basically admitted that they want health care for people that's coming over here illegal. And like the president said yesterday, what that does, it invites them to come over here. We don't want them to come over here illegal. We want them to come over here legally. But if you throwing out food, which, free Medicaid for all and all this and everything that goes with it, that is bait to get them to come over here. And we don't need that, in my opinion. You might have your own opinion about that, but I agree with the president, and they shouldn't want to try to loop that with the government spending bill. That should be separated. They should, put that to the side. We're going to debate that, but we need to get, we don't want a lot of these workers, basically not getting paid. So let's go on and check this out. Appreciate y'all for joining me. This is Maxine Waters right here, admitting that they are wanting to give illegals free health care.
Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown, because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse me, stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open, and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to say.
There you go. They want health care for everybody, for illegals and everybody else. And in my opinion, that is an invitation for them to keep trying to come over here. If they know they're going to get free health care, they're going to get Medicaid, they're going to get food stamps, they're going to get housing, they're going to continue to come over here like that. And what that does is that put a big stress on the system, and the people that are really, really from America, real Americans, they get pushed to the back of the line. Well, right now it's kind of, these Social Security offices are not as packed as they was, let's say 8 or 9 months ago. You can go in there 8 or 9 months ago or a year ago, and the place is filled. And guess what? That is a disservice for a real American that really need the benefits, because they got other people that's here illegal, that's not supposed to be here, getting the benefits. So let's keep going.
Save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of
Well, that's what they do. Because if you are a non-citizen, you're over here illegal, and you go to that welfare office, and you are there before a U.S. citizen is there, they're going to take care of the illegal first. Because when you go there, it's a line. So when you go there and it's a line, it's like you go get your Social Security card. It's a line. You got to pull the paper or whatever, and then you got to wait in the line. Where if the illegals are there, a regular American citizen has to get behind them. So the lady right here is right.
Journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
You are
asking
divisive.
questions.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
You're
that's
being
what-
divisive. No,
No, I'm
please.
not.
You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Appreciate it.
See, there it is right there, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am the host of One Only Stock Sniper. Now we fit to hear the Secretary of State, Defense of War. Go head on and take care of business. All right.
Well, you've heard from me, so now it's the main event, our Commander-in-Chief. I have the privilege every single day of watching him put America first.
What's dumb about it, Mitchell? What's dumb about it? You could have said hi, how you doing? So tell me what's dumb about it. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait to hear what you got to say. Mind your business. What's dumb about? What's dumb about that? Waiting. You talking about Maxine Waters?
First, of ensuring that our warfighters have everything they need. His compass is clear. He's easy to follow because you know he has our back. I was thinking backstage.
Hello, Ken. How you doing? Appreciate you for joining. I'm the host of Stock Sniper. Thank you for coming through.
The man who was the Commander-in-Chief when the War Department was created was George Washington. The man who was president when the War Department was reestablished is President Trump. And when he found out about this gathering of senior leaders, he said, I would be honored to come in order to address and thank the incredible Americans who defend our nation. He has a heart full of gratitude and love for what you do, and we get a chance to see it every day. And I'm honored that this morning you all firsthand get to see it as well. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the 45th and 47th President of the United States, our Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, Pete. Great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very, don't laugh, you're not allowed to do that. You know what, just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank, there goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the Joint Chiefs, generals, admirals, commanders, officers, senior enlisted, NCOs, enlisted, and every member of our American military. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the War Department. Because the era of the Department of Defense.
Mind your business. You misunderstood what I was talking about. You're not listening. I was talking about Medicaid. That's what the video was about. It was about Medicaid, which is also health care. So you don't know what you're talking about. You should listen to what I was saying. I was basically reacting to what Maxine Waters was saying. They want undocumented people to get Medicaid. That's what they want. That's the reason why that's the reason why it's a shutdown right now. Did you listen to the video? This is not about, well, Obamacare also has something to do with it too, but the main reason why the Democrats are holding up the government is because they want Medicare for all. Do I have to replay it? You're not listening.
Is over. You see, the motto of my first platoon was those who long for peace must prepare for war.
And I don't have to do no research. I done been down there to the Social Security office to see all the illegal immigrants getting Medicaid and food stamps and housing. I don't have to do no research on the internet. My feet is on the ground. I've talked to illegals that's getting $3,000, $2,000 a month food stamps. Well, they not anymore, but they was. So I don't have to do no research. I'm out there in real life talking to the people.
This is, of course, not a new idea. This crowd knows that. The origin dates to the 4th century Rome and has been repeated ever since, including by our first commander-in-chief, George Washington, the first leader of the War Department. It captures a simple yet profound truth. To ensure peace, we must prepare for war. From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting, preparing for war and preparing to win.
How you doing?
Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war, no one here wants war, but it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace, and they rightfully expect us to deliver it. Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone. It's a truth as old as time. And since waging war is so costly in blood and treasure, we owe our republic a military that will win any war we choose, or any war that is thrust upon us. Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
If you've been in the military, you know what that means. F-O-F-O. Somebody in the chat, tell me what F-O-F-O stands for. I'm going to say it right now. Fuck around and find out. That's what it means.
Another way to put it is peace through strength, brought to you by the warrior ethos. and we are restoring both. As President Trump has said, and he's right, we have the strongest, most powerful, most lethal, and most prepared military on the planet. That is true, full stop. Nobody can touch us. It's not even close. This is true largely because of the historic investments that he made in his first term, and we will continue in this term. But it's also true because of the leaders in this room and the incredible troops that you all lead. But the world, and as the chairman mentioned, our enemies get a vote. You feel it, I feel it. This is a moment of urgency, mounting urgency. Enemies gather, threats grow. There is no time for games. We must be prepared. If we're going to prevent and avoid war, we must prepare now. We are the strength part of peace through strength. And either we're ready to win or we are not. You see, this urgent moment, of course, requires more troops, more munitions, more drones, more Patriots, more submarines, more B-21 bombers. It requires more innovation, more AI in everything and ahead of the curve. More cyber effects, more counter-UAS, more space,
Andre,
more
you know what I was
speed.
trying to say.
America is the strongest, but we need to get
Don't
stronger
judge me, I
and
ain't
quicker.
perfect.
The time is now, and the cause is urgent. The moment requires restoring and refocusing our defense industrial base, our shipbuilding industry, and onshoring all critical components. It requires, as President Trump has done, getting our allies and partners to step up and share the burden. America cannot do everything. The free world requires allies with real hard power, real military leadership, and real military capabilities. The War Department is tackling and prioritizing all of these things. And I'll be giving a speech next month that'll showcase the speed, innovation, and generational acquisition reforms we are undertaking urgently. Likewise, the nature of the threats we face in our hemisphere and in deterring China is another speech for another day, coming soon. This speech today, as I drink my coffee, this speech today is about people. And it's about culture. The topic today is about the nature of ourselves. Because no plan, no program, no reform, no formation will ultimately succeed unless we have the right people and the right culture at the War Department. If I've learned one core lesson in my 8 months in this job, it's that personnel is policy. Personnel is policy. The best way to take care of troops is to give them good leaders committed to the warfighting culture of the department. Not perfect leaders, good.
Yesterday, chat, we didn't get a good look of what the military guys was looking like. We get a look today. Look how serious they're looking. We got 300 people in the building. Appreciate y'all for joining. Y'all do me a favor and hit the like button. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Appreciate y'all for joining. We got 350 people in the building. Thank y'all for being here.
Good leaders. Competent, qualified, professional, agile, aggressive, innovative, risk-taking, apolitical, faithful to their oath and to the Constitution. Eugene Sledge, in his World War II memoir, wrote, quote, "War is brutish, inglorious, and a terrible waste. Combat leaves an indelible mark on those who are forced to endure it. The only redeeming factors are my comrades' incredible bravery and their devotion to each other. In combat, there are thousands of variables, as I learned in Iraq and Afghanistan, and as so many of you did in so many more places. Leaders can only control about 3 of them. You control how well you're trained, mostly how well you're equipped, and the last variable is how well you lead. After that, you're on your own. Our warfighters are entitled to be led by the best."
I ain't gonna lie, Chad. He's firing me up. I want to do some PT right now. I want to do some push-ups. I want to go out on a 4-mile run. He got me fired up, Chad. He got me ready to rock and roll.
Best and most capable leaders. That is who we need you all to be. Even then, in combat, even if you do everything right, you may still lose people because the enemy always gets a vote. We have a sacred duty to ensure that our warriors are led by the most capable and qualified combat leaders. This is one thing you and I can control, and we owe it to the force to deliver it. For too long, we have simply not done that. The military has been forced by foolish and reckless politicians to focus on the wrong things. In many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. Some of it obvious, some of it hidden. Or as the chairman has put it, we are clearing out the debris, removing the distractions, clearing the way for leaders to be leaders. You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We've pretended that combat arms and non-combat arms are the same thing. We've weeded out so-called toxic leaders under the guise of double-blind psychology assessments, promoting risk-averse, go-along-to-get-along conformists instead. You name it, the department did it. Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore. Right now, I'm looking out at a sea of Americans who made a choice when they were young men and young women to do something most Americans will not, to serve something greater than yourselves, to fight for God and country, for freedom and the Constitution. You made a choice to serve when others did not, and I commend you. You are truly the best of America. But this does not mean, and this goes for all of us, that our path to this auditorium on this day was a straight line, or that the conditions of the formations we lead are where we want them to be. You love your country, and we love this uniform, which is why we must do better. We just have to be honest. We have to say with our mouths what we see with our eyes, to just tell it like it is in plain English, to point out the obvious things right in front of us. That's what leaders must do. We cannot go another day without directly addressing the plank in our own eye, without addressing the problems in our own commands and in our own formations. This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. I've made it my mission to uproot the obvious distractions that made us less capable and less lethal. That said, the War Department requires the next step. Underneath the woke garbage is a deeper problem, and a more important problem that we are fixing and fixing fast. Common sense is back at the White House, so making the necessary changes is actually pretty straightforward. President Trump expects it. And the litmus test for these changes is pretty simple. Would I want my eldest son, who is 15 years old, eventually joining the types of formations that we are currently wielding? If in any way the answer to that is no, or even yes, but, then we're doing something wrong. Because my son is no more important than any other American citizen who dons the cloth of our nation. He is no more important than your son. All precious souls made in the image and likeness of God. Every parent deserves to know that their son or their daughter that joins our ranks is entering exactly the kind of unit that the Secretary of War would want his son to join. Think of it as the golden rule test. Jesus said, do unto others that's what you would have done unto yourself. It's the ultimate simplifying test of truth. The new War Department golden rule is this: do unto your unit as you would have done unto your own child's unit. Would you want him serving with fat or unfit or undertrained troops? Or alongside people who can't meet basic standards? Or in a unit where standards were lowered so certain types of troops could make it in? In a unit where leaders were promoted for reasons other than merit, performance, and warfighting? The answer is not just no, it's hell no. This means at the War Department, first and foremost, we must restore a ruthless, dispassionate, and common sense application of standards. I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men, or troops who are not fully proficient on their assigned weapons, platform, or task, or under a leader who was the first, but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. If not, they're not standards. They're just suggestions.
Hold up, chat. We're gonna come back to that. We got something else over here about the shutdown.
And that's because at midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices. Nearly half of our civilian workforce is being sent home. These are hardworking Americans who work for our federal government. Our troops and our Border Patrol agents will have to go to work, but they'll be working without pay. Food assistance, veterans benefits, and vital support for women and children are all coming to a halt. Now, thankfully, President Trump is trying to mitigate the damage as much as possible. His administration is working to limit the harm to the American people. But the longer this goes on, the more pain will be inflicted because it is inevitable when the government shuts down. The sad thing about it is that every single bit of this was entirely avoidable. Democrats could have worked with us in a bipartisan manner to avert this unnecessary and very harmful shutdown. But instead, they did something that is rather shocking to us. They prioritized taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens over keeping the government open for American citizens. They themselves positioned that as a binary choice, and it's patently absurd. Listen to what the Democrats are demanding. They demanded, in exchange for our simple, clean, 24-page bipartisan continuing resolution, the same one that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats voted for just a few months back in March. In exchange for that, they rejected it, and they demanded something else. They wanted us to add over $1.5 trillion in new federal spending, paid for, of course, by hardworking American taxpayers, simply for funding the government at current Biden level spending levels. We are not going to do that. We can't do that. We won't do it. Almost 2 weeks ago, the House did our job. In the House, we passed a common sense, nonpartisan bill to keep the government open. Republicans did our job. We had one Democrat join us there, so it was bipartisan. But every other Democrat in the House voted to shut the government down. And last night, 44 Democrats in the Senate did the same thing. This is a clean resolution. It would simply buy Congress a few more weeks, 7 weeks, to finish the job. Why do we need that time? So that appropriators in both parties can finish their work. They've been restoring regular order. They've passed 12 separate bills out of committee in the House, and the Senate has done its work as well. 3 bills of the 12 passed in each chamber. They don't line up exactly, so there's a conference committee constituted, the first time in years that that's happened. We just need more time because we ran out of clock at the end of the fiscal year, September 30. This is very important to note. Democrats themselves have voted to pass a clean bipartisan CR just like this 13 times in the last few years. During the 4 years of the Biden administration, 13 times this happened. Republicans did the responsible thing, even when we were in the minority, to keep the government open. And today should be no different. There is nothing new in this legislation. There's no poison pill. There's no partisan tricks. There's no gimmicks whatsoever. The only difference today is the man who is sitting in the Oval Office. Rather than work with President Trump and Republicans to get this job done, as our party has done repeatedly in the same situation over the years, Democrats want to play political games with the lives and the livelihoods of Americans. The simple truth is Democrats in Congress have dragged our country into another reckless shutdown to satisfy their far-left base. That is the truth. Whether or not the government remains open or reopens is entirely up to them. There's still time for Democrats to pass this clean bipartisan bill that's sitting before them, and we encourage our Democrat colleagues to do that. I certainly pray they'll come to their senses soon and do the right and responsible thing. The reason they will have one more opportunity today is because of the sound leadership that is being provided in the U.S. Senate by our colleagues who are standing here with us. This is a joint press conference, as you know, between the leadership, Republican leadership in the House and the Senate. And I'm delighted to yield to my good friend and an extraordinary leader in the Senate, Leader John Thune.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and our House colleagues for doing the work. You sent us a clean, continuing resolution. Unfortunately, we are here this morning in a government shutdown that the Democrats wanted. Chuck Schumer, at the behest of a bunch of liberal, far-left activist groups, has walked his Democrat colleagues into a boxed canyon. There's no way out, folks. There's no way out. This could have been avoided. It's totally unavoidable. And everybody's now asking the question, how does this end? Well,
we got 1,000 people in the chat. Thank y'all for joining. Do you agree with the government shutdown? I just started a poll, guys. Please go vote. Do you agree with the government shutdown? Please go vote. We got over 1,000 people in the live. Appreciate every single one of y'all for coming through. Please go vote and then subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Let's go.
Ends when the Senate Democrats pick this bill up, passed by the House of Representatives, and vote for it. It's on the floor of the Senate. We're going to vote later this morning on this, 24 pages. Does this look partisan? Does this look dirty to you? 24 pages to fund the government. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing else. The House kept it simple. We kept it simple in the Senate. This is something, as the Speaker noted, that 13 times in the past Senate Democrats have done when they were in the majority and Joe Biden was in the White House. This is a very straightforward issue. It's not complicated. They want it to end. Vote with us to open up the government by voting this out of the Senate today, putting it on President Trump's desk, and he will sign it into law. President, House Republicans, Senate Republicans, we're all united on this. And what's interesting now is some of the Democrats are joining us. Our vote last night was a bipartisan vote. There were 3 Democrats that came over and voted with us because they know this strategy is a losing one, and it hurts the American people. It's not about who wins or who loses or who gets blamed in all this. It's about the American people. And they have taken the American people hostage in a way that they think benefits them politically, but at the consequence and the cost of what's going to happen to the American families if this government shutdown continues. And so I'm glad to be here with our Republican colleagues. Our Democrat colleagues in the House have been around here the last few days, I guess, flailing around, celebrating the fact that they voted to shut down the government. How ironic. Well, this can all end today, folks. It needs to end today. We will continue to work together with our House counterparts, with the President of the United States, to get this government open again on behalf of the American people. Next up is, there he is, the leader.
JH, I just got a job at ICE, $50K bonus. Wow, congratulations, JH. Congratulations, 50K bonus.
Thank you, Leader Thune. Today marks day 1 of the Schumer shutdown. As Speaker Johnson pointed out, this didn't need to happen. House Republicans came together weeks ago to prevent a government shutdown. We brought as straightforward of a bill as you can have to say, let's allow government to be funded for another 2 months while we negotiate our differences. Clearly, we have differences with Democrats right now. One of the Democrat leaders confirmed yesterday that Democrats shut the government down to fund.
JH, I'm retired. I already put the work in. I'm an old man. I already put the work in.
Health care for illegal aliens. That is no way to hold the American people hostage over some far left demand. You know, we had an election in November where the country came together and said, let's send to Washington leaders who want to solve problems and get our country back on track. And we've been working feverishly to do that, to get this country back on track, to get the economy moving, to lower inflation, to lower interest rates. And Democrats, just to appease their far left radical base, have been voting no every step of the way. Well, today it has consequences, because when Hakeem Jeffries whipped every Democrat to vote no and shut the government down, luckily in the House, we only needed a majority vote. We were able to come together and do the right thing and get that bill over to the Senate. But as everybody knows in the Senate, you also need Democrats to come together with Republicans to get 60 votes. And so when Chuck Schumer made such a fatally flawed decision to shut the government down, ultimately the American people, I think, are going to get involved and demand that Chuck Schumer reverse course, because it's not sustainable. The American people do not want to be held hostage to Chuck Schumer's radical demands to fund illegal health care and, oh, by the way, to cut and gut $50 billion out of rural hospitals. That's in the bill that Chuck Schumer filed as his alternative. That's outrageous. You want to talk about a partisan demand to hold the American people hostage? That's what Chuck Schumer's done. We have a bill that is clean, that just keeps these negotiations going for another 2 months while the government stays open. And all Chuck Schumer needs to do is get over the tantrum that he's having
Jessica?
With the results of the election from November and vote yes to keep the government open. We are here ready to get the job done. Schumer needs to end his shutdown and finally join with us, and let's start real negotiations without holding the American people hostage. With that, I want to bring up my friend, the whip of the Senate, Whip Barrasso.
Well, today we're in the middle of the Schumer shutdown. The Democrats have caved in to the radical wing of the Democrat Party. Caved in completely. Abandoned the American people in the process. And why? Well, one of the reasons is Chuck Schumer wants to try to prove to somebody that he's more liberal than AOC. Yesterday in the Senate floor, the cracks started to appear in the Democrat base. 3 Democrats voted with the Republicans to prevent a shutdown. And why? Because they know the American people are hurt when the government shuts down. We hurt our military, who may be without pay. We hurt our veterans, who may not get health care. Today, the Senate is going to vote again and give the Democrats an opportunity to open the government by passing the continuing resolution, to give us 7 weeks to do the appropriations process, to get the government open again. That's what the American people want. It's what the American people deserve. And today we'll see how many Democrats vote with us to end the Schumer shutdown. And now the whip of the House of Representatives, Tom Emmer.
A government shutdown serves no one. Government shutdowns unleash chaos on federal workers, delay pay for service members, and weaken our position on the global stage. To hold these people hostage instead of just letting them do their jobs is so wrong. These aren't my words. These are the words of congressional Democrats over the last 6 years. I hope that they will listen to their own advice for once. Let's be clear about how we got here. Republicans did our job. We did the right and reasonable thing by passing a nonpartisan, clean CR to keep the government open while we work to return the appropriation process to regular order. The reason the government is shut down this morning is because the Democrats decided they would rather hold our government hostage and issue a $1.5 trillion ransom note of radical demands and then instead of joining us as we try to govern. Make no mistake, their top priority is not fighting for Americans' health care. Their top priority is picking a fight with President Trump and scoring political points with their far-left base in the process. The American people aren't fools, however, and they won't be used as pawns in this ridiculous game. To my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, it's not too late. You can still do the responsible thing by passing our clean CR in the Senate and sending it to President Trump's desk immediately. The time for staged photo ops, selfies, and scripted talking points is over. The time for deliberate action is now. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Cotton, our honorary Minnesotan.
Well, I want to thank Speaker Johnson and House Republicans for doing their job, passing a simple, straightforward funding bill to keep the government open for 7 weeks. But here we are in a Schumer shutdown. And why are we in a Schumer shutdown? I think we all know the answer to that. Because Chuck Schumer is scared of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And Chuck Schumer is scared of his radical left-wing base. That's why we're in the Schumer shutdown. How do we get out of it? Again, let's be clear. As President Trump, Speaker Johnson, and Senator Thune have been, the Democrats need to pass the House's 7-week funding bill. Until then, there's nothing to negotiate. There's no compromises to be had. There's no games. There's no back channels. There's another vote today in the Senate. And Senate Democrats will hopefully do the right thing. And if they don't today, then they'll have another chance later this week and next week and as long as it takes until the Senate passes the House bill. That's the way we will end this needless Schumer shutdown. I now welcome Chairwoman McClain.
Well, good morning, everybody. Let me put this as plainly as I can. House Republicans voted to keep the government open with a clean CR. Period. End of conversations. No gimmicks, no partisan demands, and yet all but one House Democrat voted no. All but one voted to shut our government down. And why? Because Democrats would rather shovel $1.5 trillion of your hard-earned money into radical projects. Handouts for illegals and climate schemes in foreign countries. Now just think about that for 1 minute. Millions of Americans got up before dawn this morning and will put in 8, 9, 10 hours today and get a paycheck. But you know what? That paycheck is theirs. And Democrats want to waste their paychecks. Listen, Democrats can hold all the press conferences they want. They can spin and lie all day long. But a press conference won't open the government. The only thing that will is passing the clean, common sense bill that that Republicans have delivered. And I will close with this. The radical Democrats want to use your hard-earned money to fund radical programs. They want to use your hard-earned money to give illegal immigrants free government benefits. And I would say, Chuck Schumer, you might want to check with Maxine Waters because she doesn't think that's a lie. And what do Democrats want to do? They want to use your money to fund climate change in foreign countries, all while taking away money from our rural hospitals. This is not wrong. It's plain insulting. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend, Shelley Moore Capito.
Well, I'm the cleanup hitter here, and a privilege to be here with the leadership of the House, the Speaker, and others, and the leadership here in the Senate. The resounding theme that I've heard today is hijack and hostage. The American people are being held hostage, and the process has been totally hijacked. We've heard repeatedly how simple, how nonpartisan, how easy the bill that Leader Thune has shown us today in terms of keeping the government open, how easy that is to vote for, to give us the 7 weeks while we work out our differences. But not only am I on leadership, I'm also on the Senate Appropriations Committee. The process of appropriating has been hijacked. And that's fine for the Democrats, because last year Chuck Schumer did not put one single appropriations bill on the Senate floor. Our leader has put 3 on the Senate floor, and our committee has passed 8 bills out of appropriations. That's the process to get the will of the American people, where their priorities are, where they want to see us as a nation go with spending their hard-earned tax dollars. So while we have held hostage the
Kevin, please don't spam the chat, man. Come on, we get your point, Kevin. Please don't spam the chat. Please don't spam the chat. We get your point. I don't want to put you in timeout, man. But you got to quit spamming the chat. Let's see if he gonna keep doing it. Give you a few more seconds. You don't have to spam the chat, Kevin. Okay, looks like you stopped. Thank you, Kevin, for not spamming the chat no more.
The American people, to keep them from doing things that they like touring the Capitol or accessing benefits or the services that are provided by our federal government. They've also hijacked a process that we need to have in order to demonstrate to the American people what we promised them in this election and what President Trump promised them. We're going to go back to regular order. We're going to appropriate the dollars. We're going to be fully transparent. And we're not going to ride on some continuing resolution that spends like President Biden wanted to spend. We're going to put our own imprint on this for the American people. That's what they wanted when they voted us in, and that's what we want to give them. Thank you.
I want to thank all the senators for being here with us and the House leadership team. These folks have worked very hard. I really appreciate that context that Chairwoman Moore Capito just added here, reminding everyone that this has been a bipartisan process. The appropriators are doing their work. Republicans are in charge of Congress in both chambers, and we are returning the work of Congress back to regular order. But it takes time to do that. We have to rebuild muscle memory. As noted, Chuck Schumer didn't do that process at all. And so it's hard work. It takes a lot of time on the calendar, and all we're asking for is a little extra time. We took the liberty this morning to play the highlight reel of everything our Democrat colleagues have said for the last several decades about shutdowns. Use their own words. We'll roll that out, and it'll be in the hallway for you later today. You can see that as well. To remind everyone that they always said that shutting the government down would be dangerous, destructive, selfish, and irresponsible. And suddenly now they've changed their tune. Don't buy it. The American people are not buying it. Chuck Schumer was reminded of a New York Times poll that came out yesterday. 65% of respondents are saying to the Democrats, do not shut the government down if you don't get what you want. I think that number is going to rise dramatically as the pain increases, and it is the pain that they have caused. We'll take a few questions. Yes, the House will be returning next week, and they would be here this week, except that we did our work. We passed the bill almost 2 weeks ago out of the House and sent it to the Senate. The ball is literally in Chuck Schumer's court, so he determines that. Now, as you all know, today and tomorrow we recognize the Yom Kippur, the Jewish high holiday, so that's always traditionally a day that Congress doesn't work. We respect that tradition. And so Friday would have been the first legislative day in the House, but there is nothing truly that we can do much on the floor while the lights are almost literally out here. We have to open the government. The first, the simplest, the most important job of Congress is keeping the government working for the people. All the Democrats have always said that until this week. Yes. Well, I don't know. I've talked to one of them on the phone, okay? We have open dialogue all the time, but here's the simple fact. There isn't anything we can do to make this bill any better for them. We literally did not put one single partisan provision in the bill. There's no policy writers, there's no gimmicks and no tricks. Now, we could have done that. I had a lot of colleagues that wanted us to load this up with our priorities, but the leaders decided that we should do this in good faith, simply to buy more time, again, for the appropriations process to work. That's all this is. So there's nothing to negotiate. There's nothing that we can pull out of this bill to make it any leaner or cleaner than it is.
Hey, what's up, Kathleen? How you doing?
Clean, and it's only 24 pages long, okay? We're carrying it around as an exhibit.
Hello,
You've all read it.
Sean.
I hope everybody can read this. It's very, very simple, and it's not much more to it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. This is an extraneous matter right now. What the Democrats are doing is trying to grab a red herring. They're trying to bring in a December policy decision, which, by the way, is expiring because they themselves, the Democrats, put that into law. They had the expiration date set by themselves. But that is not a decision that has to be made until the end of the year, December 31. They're trying to bootstrap that and bring it into this very simple, very clean decision of a September funding stopgap. Don't buy it. They're grasping at straws because they want to have something to argue. They're claiming that Republicans are hurting health care. You should go read Chuck Schumer's counter proposal for the CR. We have a clean CR. They have a dirty CR, okay? And one of the reasons it's so dirty is because they wanted to cut $50 billion from the rural hospital fund that we all worked so hard to put into the American taxpayers' tax cut, American families' tax cut, because the One Big Beautiful Bill handled that. Now, there's something that you might want to think about. Why do they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals? Because many of them, most of them, are in red states. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but I can't figure out any other reason they would argue for that. And by the way, if they care so much about health care for the American people, they would not shut the government down. Because you know what stopped today, among the other important programs and services, is women, infants, and children's nutrition programs.
Famine is annoying.
They have stopped sustenance for people, health care for veterans, medical services,
I didn't time him out or block him or
all
nothing.
the things that people rely upon. FEMA. How many of you know we're in the middle of hurricane season? There's 2 off the coast of the U.S. right now. They have stalled the work of FEMA, and they have prevented people from renewing or getting new flood insurance programs right now in the middle of this. It's dangerous, it is destructive, and it's unconscionable to us that Chuck Schumer should do this and would do this for his personal political reasons. How long, the only question that we'll leave you with this morning is, how long will the Democrats allow Chuck Schumer to drive them off this cliff? Every single American needs to ask that question. Thanks for being here this morning.
Well done.
We were here.
Well, that's it, guys. I want to hear the other side. We are in a government shutdown, so some people are not getting paid. The thing is, they shouldn't get paid either. What y'all think about that, chat? On either side, they shouldn't get paid either. I don't think that's fair that the people that can't get the deal done still get paid. Well, I think I'm ending right here, guys. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Y'all have a great day. I will be back later tonight for real, and we'll finish watching old Pete. We will react to old Pete later tonight. Let me get this over here. I'm trying to get this done. All right, guys, y'all have a great day. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be back later, and we'll finish the second part of the stream. With that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out.